shakalaka, it's the D-Train on the ones and the twos, throwing up the fadeaway jump shots and the three-pointers all night long here in Brooklyn, New York, at the parking lot across the street. There are some basketball hoops. All right, I'm Daniel Ehrenberg.
Wow, that was quite an intro. Over here, it's the H-bomb. I'm knocking out lights like the Natural over here in New Jersey.
Blowing up bitches like Chernobyl.
Yeah, like a regular Roy Hobbs over here. And we are happy to bring you episode 151.
And speaking of Chernobyl, we're talking about some human mutations today.
Yeah, we are. And some atom bombs, for that matter.
That's true. The children of the atom, if you will. The X-Men, okay?
That's right.
And today we're covering the sort of minor reboot / prequel, X-Men First Class, as well as the second Wolverine solo film entitled The Wolverine.
Correct.
Okay.
And, I realized that The Wolverine was the first movie that I saw of the X-Men in theaters, and it had been 10 years since I had seen an X-Men movie.
In theaters?
Yep, it never occurred to me. I saw X2, and I guess I never went back, and then I went to see The Wolverine, and I've seen everyone since. So
I've got news for you. I've got news for you, Henry. I'm the reverse. The Wolverine is the first X-Men movie I did not go to see in theaters.
Really?
Yeah.
So you saw First Class in theaters?
I did. It wasn't like oh my God, First Class is coming out, gotta get there. But it was like a situation. I think it'd been out a couple weeks. I was dating a girl named Mary Grabenstatter. You remember that situation?
Yes.
First Class. It was like we went to go see like 3 movies together, and this was one of them.
Oh, all right. Yeah, I should have seen it in theaters. I think this is further proof of what I was theorizing last week about my not seeing X-Men Origins Wolverine. I think I was fully ensconced at this point in the MCU and DC and just didn't care. But that was perhaps unfair. But because I don't understand why I wouldn't have seen First Class. The only reason would have been disinterest.
Well, it probably was, dude. Think about it. Now you love Fassbender. Now you love McAvoy. But back then, it was like the X-Men franchise was coming off like 2 shitty movies. And they're like, we're setting this, like, it's going to be a prequel. Like, some people from the first movies are kind of involved.
Right. I think so. Yeah.
I wasn't that interested either. This felt like bullshit to me. Also, the title is clever or whatever, but it's based on a comic book. The title, the movie's not based on a comic book at all, pretty much. But the title is a reference to a comic book of the day called X-Men First Class that was sort of like their like book for kids. It was like a really ill-advised idea for a comic book because it was like, it's for kids, so it's like it's written a little simpler, but also it takes place in the 60s, and it's like the original lineup of X-Men. So like in practice, kids didn't really read it. The people that were reading the comic were like, honestly, like 50-year-olds who have like nostalgia, like 50-year-old nerds who have nostalgia for the original lineup, you know?
Right.
So that's it, Hank. X-Men First Class is your new title.
Okay.
All right, and they were trying to work on shit before this. As you remember, David Goyer wrote a X-Men Origins Magneto film.
Right.
That was set to be made after X-Men Origins Wolverine, but then people didn't like that movie. David Goyer, by the way, has described that film as, quote, the pianist meets the X-Men.
What?
Yeah. So that sounds great.
What
Definitely.
A weird guy.
That's a movie that would have been a hit.
Jesus Christ, this Goyer fella, I feel like the only thing we owe him is some credit for...
Don't you dare say Batman Begins.
Well, no, I mean, I was just going to say for having story ideas for Batman. That's
It's
all.
bullshit.
I wasn't gonna say screenplay.
He didn't have ideas. He had enough ideas that they had to credit him or whatever. But those are Nolan's movies. Literally the only thing we have to credit David Goyer for is Blade.
Yeah.
He wrote those Blade movies. And really, you probably can't give him credit for the second one because Guillermo del Toro's DNA is so thoroughly in that piece of shit.
I guess I just associate Goyer sometimes with that because on my DVDs of the Batman movies, he is fucking all over that shit.
Of course he is, because he's a publicity whore, baby. He gets in there. He does I mean, listen... You're going to find every Comic-Con, David Goyer's going to be around looking for his due credit.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so that idea gets ditched, Henry.
Yeah.
Zach Penn, who worked on the most recent, like the last couple X-Men movies, he gets hired to write a movie that they're tentatively referring to as Young X-Men.
All right.
All right? And that is in development. And then finally, this movie gets pitched by Bryan Singer. All right?
Okay.
And he's going to write and direct this. So this movie deems kind of both of those movies redundant. Because, like, this kind of is the Young X-Men.
Right.
And also... the Magneto thing, the X-Men Origins Magneto, we're dealing with that in this movie.
Yeah, completely.
Okay,
yeah.
So Singer's attached. He gets the movie greenlit, but then he shunts off to go make Jack the Giant Slayer.
Sure.
Well, Jack the Giant Killer, if you recall. They changed the title to make it more for kids.
No, I don't know much about that other than that you've seen it.
I have seen it.
Yeah.
In theaters.
I know. That's all I know about that movie, literally.
Okay, so my interest in X-Men First Class was piqued when Josh Schwartz was hired to write a draft. And they were even considering him to direct, Henry.
Okay.
And Josh Schwartz was, of course, the creator of The O.C. and subsequently Gossip Girl and Chuck. So I'm like, what is this guy going to do with X-Men?
Uh-oh.
I'm excited. It's just going to
Yeah.
be a bunch of young people chatting and fucking.
Right.
Which is all I want. I'm in.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, so Bryan Singer fucking hates Josh Schwartz's. He decides we're not going to use any of this.
Interesting.
So there's 6 credited writers on this movie. He's not one of them. So Singer and Sheldon Turner are credited for story. And then Ashley Miller and Zach Stentz write a draft that finally Singer's happy with. Okay? Now, they're TV writers at the time. They worked on Fringe, but they're about to get their big break writing the first Thor movie. Okay?
Oh, all right.
All right. They haven't done much since and are currently attached to write a remake of Big Trouble in Little China. So you'll be loving that.
Oh, fuck.
I knew you'd love that.
Jesus. All right.
Okay. And then they finally find a director, Henry. Matthew Vaughn is brought in.
Yeah.
And he's brought in to both write and he's brought in to direct, but Matthew Vaughn's also a writer, so he insists on bringing in his co-writer, Jane Goldman, and they're going to write a script together.
Okay.
And so they cobble those scripts together, and Vaughn comes in to direct. Vaughn's a guy I like.
Me too.
All right, I've liked everything he's ever made.
Yeah, I'm looking right now, and I had looked before, and he debuts directorially with Layer Cake.
Right. So he got his start as a producer. He produced Guy Ritchie's movies, and then his first film as director was Layer Cake, which is a good movie. Follows that up with Stardust, which great adaptation of a Neil Gaiman novel. The movie's only good, but the book is great.
Okay, I didn't see that.
Then he does Kick-Ass, which is a big hit for him.
I love that.
Yes, same. And then he does X-Men First Class and follows that up with the 2 Kingsman films and eventual 3rd Kingsman film coming out next year.
Right, and I saw the first Kingsman, and I liked that a lot. And we'll talk about First Class, obviously. But yeah, he's a solid guy, solid
He's a
director,
solid bro.
solid bra.
We like
Yeah,
him.
solid bra.
Okay,
Yeah.
so this movie was released June 3rd, 2011, on a budget of $160 million, and it makes $353.6 million at the box office.
So it does well.
Does quite well. It's not like a out of the box massive success like
Right.
say Avengers Endgame, which made $1.2 billion this weekend.
Oh, question. We'll talk about it later. Will Endgame beat Avatar and Titanic?
I mean, it's possible. It shattered the opening weekend records of like everything.
Okay, I really hope it does.
It'd be nice. We talked about this when we talked about like Force Awakens. Like, remember I said like I know you don't love that movie, but doesn't it make so much more sense to have a Star Wars movie like the number one highest grossing movie of all time?
Yeah, and anything that supplants James Cameron, I'm thrilled with.
Right. So it'd be
I
cool
don't even care.
if an Avengers movie did that.
It'd be awesome.
Okay, so it comes in at number 17 at the box office for 2011 between Puss in Boots and Rio. Okay.
Two animate. Wow. All right.
Two classic movies. And you want to do a 2011 list?
Yeah. Let's do it. Let's do it. I had to make an amendment on my number 10 for something because you keep putting it in yours and I kept forgetting. So out came one-time number 10, Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2.
How about that?
Had to bump it.
Okay, well, I have a list here. I don't know how updated it is or whatever, but I'm just going to go ahead and read it. What's
All
your
right,
number 10? This is an
Okay.
old list I'm working off of, gang. 2 old lists today. So it's 10 movies I love, but the order might not be exact.
All right. My number 10 is A Dangerous Method.
Yeah. Oh, great. My
Yeah.
number 10 is Young Adult.
Great. My number 9 is A Separation.
My number 9 is Moneyball.
All right. My number 8 is Another Earth.
My number 8 is The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo.
Okay. My number 7 is The Ides of March.
My number 7 is another film Michael Fassbender made this year, Shame.
Okay.
See,
All
listen
right.
to how early in Fassbender's career it is. It was the same year as Shame.
Yeah, I know.
He is not a movie star by any means.
No, at one point, hopefully down the line, I would love to put him in an episode of Order Up because I realized that looking at his credits, I've seen 20 films.
That's
he's been
surprising.
in.
That might be the only actor you beat me on in terms of...
And he's only been around for like 11 years.
I know, but you've seen like fucking everything.
Yeah, I have. All right. My number 6 is Moneyball.
All right, my number 6 is Meek's Cutoff.
Great movie.
These are the grand slams, the slap shots, the three-pointers, the touchdowns, the curling when the puck gets close to the circle. These are the heavy hitters of the franchise. Heavy hitter.
The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo.
Okay, can I just say, we have Henry on video this week, and that whole segment of the show was just a joy for me to watch. So, Henry, without missing a beat, holds his phone up to the microphone, just looking so satisfied with himself as the Heavy Hitters theme comes out. While he's holding the fucking phone to the microphone, he takes a drag of his Black and Mild and then leans in right to the mic and says, I missed even what he said. Girl with the dragon tattoo?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Hey, thank you. Are you trying to say that like Wolverine, I'm cool?
I'm just saying, as a video podcast, this is enjoyable for me.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think everything you described was basically saying that was a cool move.
I think you're so cool, Henry.
I'm a cool guy. I'm
Yeah.
a cool guy. What's your number 5?
A Separation.
Oh, all right. Number 4 is The Tree of Life.
Yeah, mine too.
Yeah, okay. Number 3 is Melancholia.
My number 3 is Margaret.
Yeah, that's on my HM.
I know. And I judge you for it.
I understand. It was
I judge you for every Kenneth Lonergan movie that ends up on your HMs.
Yeah, I love Kenneth Lonergan. I don't know why that happens. Maybe the years he makes films are just stacked years.
I don't know. He's made 3 movies. They're all masterpieces.
Margaret, You Can Count on Me, and that, right?
Manchester by the Sea.
Oh, that's not a masterpiece.
It's close. It's a near masterpiece. You're probably right.
It's a good movie, but yeah.
It's better
all
than
right.
good. All right, what's number 2?
Number 2 is Shame.
Right. My number 2 is Drive. And your number 1
is Drive.
Right, and mine is Melancholia.
Yeah. Well, this is a hell of a year. We have a lot of similar picks on here.
A lot of similar picks, Hank. So let's talk First Class.
Let's do it.
I'm excited. All right, now, this movie... Oh, hey, we're back in the Holocaust. Great.
And it took me a couple of minutes to figure out if they reshot this or if it was like...
No, it was reshot.
Yeah, I could tell. But they do a pretty good job.
Because we needed to do more scenes with young Magneto, right? So we couldn't use the same kid from like 11 years ago.
No, I mean, I thought they could have used the old footage, the same exact sequence from X-Men.
But they couldn't have because the young Magneto from that footage... You couldn't show that in this because you have other scenes with that character.
That's right. Yeah, there's other scenes with the character.
Also,
right.
in the first movie, he gets Muddy Rain in his ear, and he doesn't in this one. And I took note of that.
Who the fuck noticed that?
I always remember that in the first movie where it's like, I know his mother's getting taken off to the gas chamber, but what about that ear infection he's going to get?
Oh, my God. Probably not going to get... cleansed.
No,
not fixed.
So we're back in the Holocaust, Henry.
We are.
We get to see that again, the fucking gate thing. He moves the gate with his metal powers. And then he gets taken into Kevin Bacon, Nazi's office.
Right.
And by the way, Kevin Bacon has a tendency to be too dour for me in a lot of movies and TV shows. And it's nice to see him have some fun.
I find that really interesting. That's never been my feeling about Kevin Bacon.
I don't know, man. Maybe the most recent thing I saw him in was The Following, that fucking TV show. And then I rewatched The Woodsman.
Oh, yeah. Whoa.
Which he's fucking great in, but he's a child molester.
Right. See, that's funny because I think of Kevin Bacon and I always think more of a upbeat, like...
Everybody
happy
Footloose?
Rebel, yeah, like she's having a baby, the big picture. I don't really think of him like that. I always think of a diner. I always kind of have
that's true.
Kevin Bacon in my head.
He's good at that sort of thing. I wish he would do it more. Kevin Bacon doesn't get a lot of good roles anymore. I feel like he should.
I agree.
He still looks the same.
He looks exactly the same. Remember him in A Few Good Men, how good he is in that?
He's fucking great in that movie. You're right. Listen, I love Kevin Bacon. I'm just saying this is what I expect from him lately.
Yeah, that's interesting.
All right.
I mean, no, he's having a good time here, and he's really good.
Yeah, and there's that great two-shot of them with the office in the background, and then he turns it around like a 180 shot where it's still a two-shot from the other side. And
when he's with the kid?
When he's with the kid in the office, and then we see like that fucking torture room on the other side.
Oh, yeah. That is great.
That is such a good shot.
It really is. Matthew Vaughn really knows what he's doing, director.
I know. I do wish it wasn't aided by effects. Like, that was definitely done green screen. Yeah. I would have liked them to do that naturally, but I guess given the size of the room, they needed the aid of effects. But whatever. It still really worked for me.
And they only had $160 million.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Couldn't have built that room or anything.
No, couldn't have built the set.
No, computer guys, you do it. So he's great in that scene, and he brings in the mother to be killed in front of the kid, and he wants him to move the coin with his mind, and it's like a Nazi coin he gives him, and then what did he send it through Bacon's head? Is that right?
No.
The guy who kills his mom.
Well, I don't think he does anything with the coin.
I'm thinking of something fucking later in the movie.
Way
dude.
later.
Yeah. Sorry.
He crushes the guys' heads with their own helmets.
Well, yeah, the mom, he can't move the coin. The mom gets killed, and then he just his powers go nuts because he's all worked up.
Right.
And he just moves everything that's fucking metal in the room. Everything gets crushed. And I love Kevin Bacon, who isn't scared at all, who's just like, yes, that's what I want, yes.
And what's
Queen.
What's interesting about that too is I've seen this movie a few times. I own it. And I didn't even remember. I knew Kevin Bacon's character was a mutant, but I didn't remember when or how he was. So it was funny to me in that scene. I was like, oh, he's just fascinated by mutants. And if he is a mutant, why is he so not scared of this kid? And then, of course, it becomes clear later that he has nothing to be scared of.
He has one of those sort of nebulous energy absorption powers.
Well, tell me a bit about, and us, the listeners, I suppose, or the presenters. We'll get to that later. About the Sebastian Shaw.
Sebastian Shaw, he was introduced, I think, during the Dark Phoenix saga, as the head of the Hellfire Club, who were trying to recruit Phoenix to be a part of the club. And he's just sort of this effete gentleman who wears a lot of ascots and things like that. And I mean, they got the power right. Basically, how the power is depicted with the visual effects is how it's depicted in the comic.
So that is his power.
Oh, yeah. And Kevin Bacon doesn't look anything like Sebastian Shaw, but he was playing the character. Like, he was recognizably that character to me.
When you say he doesn't look like him, I mean, that's...
I mean, he's just drawn differently in the comic, that's all.
Well, of course, but
he's shorter
is he much
and...
older? Or?
No, he's shorter and wider and is balding and ties his hair back and... Yeah.
Oh.
But, I mean, whatever. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's like these people that, like, when Chris Evans got cast as Captain America, they were like, but he's not blonde.
Yeah. I was just worried because he couldn't act.
Well, I know. Back then he couldn't.
Right.
Yeah. But, I mean, this happens all the time. Hugh Jackman's too tall. He's too tall.
That had to be a big one back then.
Yeah.
Okay.
The only thing that satisfies fucking comic book nerds is if you put Patrick Stewart as Xavier. They're like, that makes sense. He's a bald. He's bald. All right. When fucking Gal Gadot got cast as Wonder Woman, nerds were like, her boobs aren't big enough. And Alicia Vikander is fucking Tomb Raider. Remember that shit?
Yeah,
I hate comic book nerds.
Yeah, they're bad, and also with poor Brie Larson, right? She took a lot of shit too,
which I didn't understand because that's the character. Like when I heard Brie Larson was playing Captain Marvel, I was like, "Yup, makes sense, checks out."
Sure, bunch of bullshit.
All right, bro.
All right.
So
at the same time this is happening, we get to meet Xavier, and
and he's a little kid. And he's hanging out in this mansion by himself, and little Mystique is trying to steal from the kitchen. It's actually his mom, right? And then he's like, my mom has never been in the fucking kitchen in her life. Who are you?
Fooled me again.
Yeah.
I was like, wait, whoa, I didn't know that was... I didn't remember that was coming.
No, it fooled me for a second, too. This is only my second time watching this movie.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So you haven't seen it since the theaters?
That's right.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I have less of an excuse, but I guess I'm just superhero overloaded in the last 7 years. So I do not remember certain things like this. So
sure.
Yeah, it was cool.
This felt weird to me, and it's not Vaughn's fault, it's Singer's fault, because Bryan Singer decided that Mystique in his movies needed to be sexier. So they made her naked, basically.
Right.
And so now we're seeing like little kid Mystique, who's like 10 years old or something, and when she turns back into Mystique, she's naked. She's fucking naked, and Matthew Vaughn, you could see him in this scene straining not to sexualize this 10-year-old child. So much of this scene is shot from the neck up.
Yeah, it's true. You just see her head.
Yeah, because then you're just sitting there looking at a fucking naked 10-year-old.
Yeah,
which I'm sure Bryan Singer would have loved.
He was sorry he couldn't be aboard.
Yeah, Singer was like, I think that scene needs reshoots.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that is what's going on there, brother. And then we get the title. This bothered me. So we see fucking Magneto grab that Nazi coin, Henry.
Right.
And it cuts to like the title, like the coin.
Yeah.
We zoom in on the coin, which has a fucking swastika on it. And then the coin turns over, and on the other side, it's the X-Men logo, and it's X-Men First Class. And I'm like, we don't need to make that Nazi coin the X-Men logo.
That was odd. I didn't know what. It seemed like a kind of a cop out. Like it's sort of like an X or. Maybe we're trying to say that the origins of the biggest X-Men anti-hero stem from Nazi Germany.
I don't think they were trying to do anything. I think they were trying to say this coin is a circle. If we turn it around, we can make it the logo.
Yeah, it's lazy. Yeah. It was like the first X-Men credits with the Fight Club thing going on there.
Right. Then we meet Rose Byrne, right? As Moira McTaggart, who's a big character from the comic. Xavier's longtime flame. She is, of course, Scottish in the comic, and we're pulling a real Halle Berry here. Rose, don't worry. You're fine.
We're getting an English woman to play an American, right?
Rose Byrne?
Yeah.
Is she not American?
I don't believe she is.
If she's not, she does a good accent, because I've seen her in a number of things, and I've always thought she was American.
I'm going to look it up right now, because I could be completely wrong.
She's Australian, Henry.
Oh, there you go.
Good for her. And I will say, I can't in good conscience give her the MVP in this movie, because the part's a little underwritten. But I will say, I thought she was great.
She was.
Yeah.
She was very. It is pretty underwritten. It wouldn't warrant.
And she sort of disappears for like a good chunk of the movie. But
yeah,
I thought in that opening, in all the scenes where she's like in that fucking conference room talking to the dudes at the CIA.
Yeah.
I thought she was really good in those scenes. Funny and likable and moved the plot along well. She was good at that dialogue.
Yeah, I liked it too because I've always had a confusion amount to this. This goes from the movies and the comics where I've sometimes confused director Hill and Moira McTaggart.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know. I know they're very different characters, but
one was created 30 years earlier.
Yeah, but like for me, sometimes I confuse who is with which group. And so it was nice to see that, and you really see a stark contrast the way Hill is depicted in the Avengers, as opposed to Moira McTaggart in X-Men. They're completely different, and I think part of that is Rose Byrne's very idiosyncratic performance. So that helps.
I think Rose Byrne was an actress who used to do a lot of drama earlier in her career, and at a certain point, Hollywood or somebody realized she's better at comedy, because ever since then, like I've liked her in like Neighbors, and,
right,
and fucking what was that movie, Henry? Fuck, I had it in my head.
I don't know.
Anyway, the fucking Neighbors movie she's good in, and I've seen fucking Bridesmaids.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think she's funny in that.
Yeah, no, she is. She's good. She's good. It's a light touch. I love. I mean, she matches the tone of the movie, which is just for me, a superb balance of humor and drama. I think it's just superb with that tone.
Okay,
it just keeps it right.
I'm gonna tell you something.
Mm-hmm.
This movie, I'm watching it, and it's moving by. It flows. It really moves. I was never bored. I was enjoying myself.
Mm-hmm.
And something occurred to me, like midway through the movie. This movie has just as much. Remember, I complained they left themselves too big a project with The Last Stand. There's just too much to get through in that movie.
Yes, right.
And this is a movie that, is 2 hours, and we have to do an origin story of the X-Men. We need to do a superhero story in its own right. We need to develop the concept of mutants, because it's taking place in a world where people don't know what mutants are.
Right.
And we need to introduce a shit ton of important new characters that we haven't developed before. We're doing an origin story of Xavier and Magneto. We're going to somehow wrangle in a political thriller about the Cuban Missile Crisis. And, I mean, it just
seamless.
fucking does it all.
It's seamless. It's very well written. Like, you're right about all that. It somehow managed. They just knew what to leave out and what to keep in.
But they didn't really leave out anything. They just.
No, you're right. All I was going to say was that they give a little short shrift to the Hellfire Club members. They're kind of like the. Like in the first X-Men, they're kind of the underwritten sidekicks.
That is absolutely true, but I think I've been doing a lot of thinking about this covering the X-Men because they have such big casts. And I think a lot of times with movies like this where you have such massive ensemble casts, you just need to hire the right actors. And if you hire actors that are fucking watchable and hold the screen, then you don't have to do too much development on the character. They'll do it for you. And that's why in that first movie, I'm sorry, you can't cast Tyler Mane and Ray Park. You're not getting away with that, all right?
Or Halle Berry.
Yeah, I guess. But in this movie, there are so many little characters that are just like, oh, that guy, all right.
Right. Well, I think for me, Jason Fleming as Azazel is cool because, he's been in a million things. Jason Fleming, the sort of James Remar lookalike, who's also in this movie.
Yeah, Fleming he's in a bunch of Danny Boyle stuff. Is that right?
He's a lot of. Well, he was actually in a couple of Guy Ritchie films.
Oh, I think that's what I was thinking of. Yeah, which makes
I
sense that he's in this Vaughn movie.
Right, and the other ones aren't not so much. I thought, but. We'll get
there.
Well,
look.
I have a 3-way tie for my LVP, but I think I've already decided.
I have an LVP for sure. And so for the Hellfire Club, we're getting up to date. Kevin Bacon, he has not aged because we love doing that in the X-Men movies. They have not aged.
Well, he explains that.
What's that? Well, yeah, I know. We always explain it, though. But we do it with fucking everybody. It's like, hey, that guy can't age. Wolverine, he can't age. Sabretooth does not age. And by the way, Mystique, in 40 years, she's going to look the same.
But you know what was funny is that the little line that explains Mystique and her age and the line that explains Sebastian Shaw's age, I appreciated because it is annoying to wonder like how and why is this happening, and then you get your answer.
Yeah, there's no loose ends in this movie. There's just stuff where it's like we didn't feel like really getting into this, so here's a one-line wave away.
Me, I didn't need a whole fucking.
I feel the same way, 100%.
Yeah.
110%.
The time. Yeah.
So, let's go through the characters a little bit because we meet so many fucking characters in this movie. We get Moira McTaggart sees Emma Frost turn into diamonds, and so she learns of the existence of mutants and goes off to find Xavier and finds out he's a mutant, and then gets into this like CIA project where they're going to recruit mutants. Along with Oliver Platt, who's in this movie for some reason, and plays a character who goes unnamed.
And who dies very unceremoniously off screen.
Yeah, it's the kind of character that super didn't need to be played by Oliver Platt. But you know what? Oliver Platt, he holds the screen.
He does.
I'm not always a fan of that guy. I fucking hate him in something. He sucks at comedy. Don't put him in comedies.
Yeah, I agree. He's always been one of those actors that I find him, he can either be like really annoying or he can fit the part well. Like I think of him in something like A Time to Kill and he's irritating. And then yet I think of Frost Nixon and he's good.
Right.
You know,
I think of him in year one, and it makes my
Oh,
fucking
yeah.
skin crawl. And then I see him in like The Good Wife, and I'm like, hell yeah.
Right. So I think he's a dose of medicine you can either do
Am I thinking
without.
of The Good Wife, or am I thinking of The West Wing, Henry? Or am I thinking of both?
Would I know?
I
That's
don't
the
know. I don't
question.
feel like looking it up. Anyway,
Right.
that guy. So we recruit mutants. Over on the villain side, let's start there. We've got Azazel, who incredibly is in this movie, probably just because Matthew Vaughn liked the visual and they needed a teleporter.
Sure.
But this is a character who, up to this point in comics, had been introduced in one arc by a writer named Chuck Austin in a story called The Draco that is widely among X-Men fans considered to be the worst X-Men story in comic book history.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
He is so ignored is he that in that story he's revealed to be Nightcrawler's dad, and subsequent comics were just like no.
Okay.
Yeah, so-
that'd be weird. What a weird comment. Yeah, that would make because he's Russian, and then his son would be German.
Well,
so
in the comic,
that's
it's heavily implied that he's the actual devil.
oh,
Yeah.
that works.
So you got Azazel. Then
Jesus.
there is what's his name, Riptide.
Yeah, that I don't know why he's in this.
He's my LVP, Henry.
He was in my three-way tie, but if he's your LVP, to be different. I will knock him out. I'm crossing it out right now. I have two left.
Okay.
See how this episode goes.
So fucking Riptide. First of all, he's a character I don't even remember from the comics. I'm sure he's based on somebody, but whatever. And they just cast this like famous Latino actor to play him. I think just to like, coax international audiences into seeing the movie.
Yeah, probably to get some diversity.
He has like
in this
no
movie.
lines of dialogue because he can't speak English.
Yeah, that's right. I am a little surprised he's your LVP. Boy, I would have called somebody else
Who?
big time for you. I would have.
Tell me.
Well, I don't know if I should tell you because it's one of my.
Okay, I guess we'll get to him.
That's right.
Or her. So
Him or her. So who we win now? We got.
and then there's Emma Frost, who's like Sebastian Shaw's second in command over on the villain side. And this is a missed opportunity, obviously, because Emma Frost is one of the great, great comic book characters. And
a big one, right? Like a pretty big.
really important. Yeah, this is a
Yeah.
character who, was like, for a while there, married, I think, to Cyclops.
Okay.
So, and she was like she was the leader of the X-Men for a while.
Oh yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so she should probably be better in this. We cast January Jones, and January Jones is a very, very fine actress with a limited skill set, and so she's doing her Mad Men thing in this, and it doesn't quite work.
Okay, so here we go, and here we go. Spoiler alert: she is my LVP.
I just don't. I think she's more valuable to the movie than Riptide.
She's more valuable, obviously, but
Because I like her in a couple of scenes.
I think that her acting in this movie, it's just so wooden.
It's not good. It's not
It's
good.
so nothing, and I don't have anything against January Jones. I mean, I love her in Mad Men
And Last Man on Earth.
Last Man on Earth. I mean, she is just not right here. It just doesn't feel like a fit to
She's
me.
miscast. Emma Frost is a character with lots of verve and
Yeah, right?
joie de
Well,
vivre.
some charisma.
Yeah,
and
and she
January
doesn't
Jones
really
just
have
looks-
it here.
It's just like seems like an opportune
Yeah.
casting thing. Like, oh, she's hot now. Let's get her.
Right, right. Yeah, this is like season 3, or she's probably won an Emmy or been nominated at this point for Mad Men. Let's get her in
Yeah,
there.
it's almost like Woody Allen syndrome, you know. Oh, I know Jason Biggs from American Pie.
Yeah.
Let's put him in anything else. Yeah, yeah.
The only thing I really liked with Emma Frost in this movie is when she made Raid Sherber Gerber think that he was boning her.
That was funny.
That was pretty good. Okay, so over on the good boy side, who do we have? There's Angel,
Angel,
played
yes.
by Zoe Kravitz.
So that's who I thought you were going to pick as your LVP.
Why?
Because I've heard you make remarks about her acting skills
But
before.
that's not true. I always make jokes, Henry, about she's had it difficult.
Right.
That said, I think she's just an unbelievable looking person. I mean, she's just like she's just like I mean, she looks like a
She's
fucking
the
goddess
She's the product of
of two of the most beautiful people in the world.
Right. Yeah. So yeah.
And I think she's gotten better. Like, I think she's okay in X-Men First Class, and by the time she's in Big Little Lies, I think she's actually good.
Yes, she was my second choice for LVP, but once we brought up Emma, and I that settled it, because
Okay.
she is serviceable and she's fine compared to the January Jones.
I definitely think she's better than January Jones.
Yes, I agree.
Mm-hmm.
I agree. So
That said, this is another character who really isn't characterized. In the comic book, this character, Angel, is very sort of difficult to talk to, and she snaps at you, and she's going through... She's like... in the comic, she's like 15, and she's just like an angsty teen.
Well, I want to, as we're doing this, we should mention that I think one of the best parts of this entire movie is what we're speaking about, which is the way Vaughn decides to cross-cut and edit this recruitment sequence.
This is a really nice sequence, the recruitment of the team, where also I really enjoyed the sort of like proto-Cerebro that they go into.
Absolutely. It's fucking great, and I just love the way it's really snappy and well done and visually enjoyable, and also gets the best cameo in, like...
Yeah, fucking Wolverine shows up in this movie for one scene, and his only line of dialogue is, "Go fuck yourself." Which I remember being in the theater and being like, "Oh, we're allowed to say fuck in X-Men movies now?"
Yeah. I mean, when I saw it for the first time on DVD, I thought the same thing, but I was so jazzed. I thought that was such a great little sequence, and their reaction to him
just walking away.
Okay,
which, I mean, if you really think about it, doesn't make sense, but it works so well as a comedy beat.
And I love Hugh Jackman for just like showing up to do that.
That's Hugh Jackman, man. I feel like Hugh Jackman's a guy who's going to show up for you.
It's just fucking great.
He knows where his bread is buttered.
Yeah, man. It's very fucking funny, and it's not even like the crux of that sequence. It's just thrown in the middle, and you see a cigar, and then it's just great.
So who else do we meet in that sequence? We get Havoc.
Right. Played by a not too good actor, but he's fine enough.
MacGyver, Henry.
Oh, is that right?
He's the current reboot of MacGyver.
Oh, I thought that was Will Forte.
No, that's MacGruber.
MacGruber!
Yeah. This kid's he's a little bit wooden, but whatever. So is the character. That's kind of what Havoc is. So weird that they included Havoc and kept the name Alex Summers, thereby implying that he's Cyclops' brother, even though it's not the 1960s.
Okay, meaning that what?
In the comics, Havoc is Cyclops' younger brother.
Right.
And so in the movie, he's being introduced as a 20-something whatever, 19 or 18.
Well, it's possible because we meet Scott Summers in Origins Wolverine, and he's in high school. And that's in the 70s.
So what are you trying to tell me? That James Marsden is playing like a 45-year-old in X-Men?
It's the near future, the not too distant.
Fuck you! You're totally right, though. You could chalk it up to that, man.
Chalk it up to it because we see. I believe. I'm not positive of this, but I think in Days of Future Past we get to see Ty Sheridan playing Cyclops. So.
I believe that's Apocalypse.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think he's there yet in Days of Future
But it's,
Past.
I don't know, it didn't bother me, but that's a funny observation. Yeah, we also see Darwin, who is weirdly killed, oddly introduced, and kind of a strange. You got to tell me something about this guy.
Darwin is a character that had been created pretty recently in a comic book miniseries called X-Men Deadly Genesis by Ed Brubaker. This is off the dome.
I'm sure it all is.
Yeah. And he is an interesting power. He's a more interesting power than he is a character. Where he adapts. That's why they call him Darwin, because it's evolution reference. And so yeah, we see the power demonstration sequence. Puts his head underwater, he grows gills, so he could breathe underwater. But yeah, he's killed pretty unceremoniously. I think that's just because, like, in that big action sequence, they wanted someone to die to raise the stakes.
And obviously it had to be the black guy.
You know what's funny? At first, it looks like Darwin and Angel are both, like, they're going to be the only ones that go over to the other side, and it's like, ooh, really?
Yeah, bad. But the way he dies is weird too, because if he can adapt to anything, why didn't he just adapt to what was done to him?
Well, you can't make him fucking immortal, dude.
No, God forbid. No, but I just mean cut his head off or something. I mean, he gets absorbed energy by Sebastian Shaw,
but he just he fucking implodes. If you cut his head off, then he could grow a long spine that connects the head.
He's Tony Shalhoub in Men in Black. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. He's all of a sudden fucking Tony Shalhoub.
All right, so Darwin, blah, 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 blah. Oh, Banshee,
sure. We're using the kid who was Allison Williams' brother in Get Out.
Right.
Yeah, and he's kind of doing a similar twitchy performance in this. He's Caleb Landry Jones, and I think he is totally very good. And this is the character, other than, by the way, another character who is plainly very Irish in the comic, who they're making American in this.
Really?
Yeah. Sean Cassidy is his name. Okay. But other than that, this is the character pretty much directly. It was really cool to see. Yeah,
and folks, we are not prolonging this. This is how many characters.
There are so many fucking characters in this movie.
But they are really done well and quick. If it sounds drawn out, it's really not drawn out. It's really well done. So
we're just analyzing each one. And then, of course, working for the CIA, we get Nicholas Hoult as Beast for the first time. And I did not appreciate Charles Xavier immediately outing him. It's fucking crazy. He's like, a whole group of people enter this room to meet, Hank McCoy, who's just like a dude in a lab suit, and Xavier's like, "Oh, you're a mutant too, huh? How about that?" And he's like, "What the fuck, asshole?" I mean, come on, man. On Survivor, Henry, there was a transgender Henry, and there was a dude, Jeff Arner, who tried to outed him during a tribal council, he's a liar, he's a transgender, and he didn't tell anybody. And it was seen as so fucked up that Jeff Probst was like, "Hey, everybody, you're gonna vote him off now, right, for doing that bullshit?" And they were like, "Yup," and they were like, "Okay, let's not even vote. Get the fuck out of here."
Wow, that's funny.
Yeah.
Okay.
So not cool, Xavier. You should be voted off the island.
Yeah. Wow.
But I think Nicholas Hoult is a very, very good Beast.
He's excellent.
I will say I kind of wish they kept him not blue.
That's interesting. I didn't mind
the blue looks stupid.
Well, yeah. I mean, what are you gonna do? I mean,
just don't have him be blue.
Yeah, would you just keep him the way he was?
He was fucking not blue for a good 20 years in the comic before they decided to make him blue. You don't.
Oh, really?
I know the blue is iconic. That's how people think of Beast, because that's how he looks in the animated series, and that's how he looks in most of the more famous comics from the 80s and 90s. But you don't need
I thought it worked because I thought when they did it, they didn't really linger too much on the makeup, and somehow
That said, we
Nicolas
get this big reveal where he walks out of like the shadows into that airport hangar.
That's long. Yeah.
Yeah.
But Nicholas Hoult is still able to act through that, which is pretty impressive, to be honest. It's much better than Bad Grammar from last week. I dug it.
I did too. I really like Nicholas. I have a lot of time for Nicholas Hoult as an actor, and I think he's good in this.
Yeah. We also step a little bit into, and you correct me if I'm wrong, because I don't know enough about the X-Men.
You're incorrect.
We go in, what?
I'm going to assume you're wrong. What do you got?
No, yeah, I probably am. We got a couple of I believe the first time at least in these movies, some realistic reality is stepping in where we actually have an actual president of the United States. It's JFK. We have an actual CIA director, John McCone, who was indeed the CIA director. So that's a little bit of Marvel Avengers stuff going on there, right? Like, did X-Men do that too?
X-Men have done that in the comics because it takes place in the Marvel Universe in the comics.
Right.
So the Marvel Universe has always used the actual president. Marvel has done some things where, like, Robert Kelly, that character who was like introduced in the first movie, he like ran for president once. So we'll cover that. But ultimately, like, Trump's president. But I guess we're setting this one back in the 60s, so like it makes more sense to actually like reference who the president is.
I thought that was very cool, just like the stock footage and then using an actor to play John.
Dude, I tweeted. I was like watching it on Amazon, so you've got like the X-ray, where you like see who's playing everybody.
Okay.
So like you like if you move the cursor on your laptop, you can see who is in every scene. Okay. And so there was like footage, like stock footage of JFK at one point in the movie, and it just said like it was listing the cast on the screen where it was like Michael Fassbender, Magneto, James McAvoy, Professor Xavier, John F. Kennedy himself. And I tweeted like, "Holy shit, X-Men First Class nabbed Kennedy."
That was a good. I don't know how they did that.
Yeah,
but he did love movies and movie
stars. It's a good pull.
Was a good pull.
He probably boned Rose Byrne.
And I'm just a nerd, so when they said John McCone, I don't really think that's for like everybody, but I was like, oh yeah, he was the actual CIA director.
By the way, in that fucking sequence, once we're doing like the Cuban Missile Crisis at the end, and we're looking at like American Command Center, everyone in that scene is like a fucking famous actor. Like, why did we need to use famous actors for that scene?
I don't know, but it was cool.
I mean, who was in that? I just remember there was Brendan Fear from Roswell was in that.
Oh, I only really noticed James Remar.
But there's so much of that, man. Like, yeah, James Remar shows up. Raid Sherba-Jerbers in like 2 seconds of this movie. Who else was in that last scene though? Ray Wise. What was Ray Wise doing there?
It was very funny. I don't know. I guess you're right.
Michael Ironside was in there. Fucking
right.
Jason Bage, franchise crossover with Home Alone 4, and at one point there's a scene. What was it? Like someone gets turned down, like hitting on somebody. I can't remember, but Sasha Peterson from Pretty Little Liars was in there. Anyway. By the way, McAvoy as like young Xavier, who's like charming co-eds, is very funny to me.
He's perfect.
He's so good.
Him and Fassbender are two of the most inspired choices ever in this franchise and in comic book movies in general. I'd say. I'd say they're as inspired as Robert Downey Jr.
It's up there, yeah. It's more outside the box than Robert Downey Jr. Robert Downey Jr. just makes so much sense. Like, when I heard McAvoy and Fassbender, I wouldn't have necessarily immediately thought that was perfect, but they kind of are.
No, right.
I'll also say Jennifer Lawrence is fucking great in this movie.
She's very, very good. Yeah, she's very good.
And also, at one point, she tries to bone Magneto, and I would pay thousands of dollars to watch Michael Fassbender fuck Jennifer Lawrence with his giant shame dick.
Well, he was dating for a while Zoe Kravitz, I believe.
I'd watch that too. Use that horse cock.
Oh my God.
All right.
Jesus Christ. Where do you go from there?
They get caught up in the fucking Cuban Missile Crisis. I feel like I'm watching Men in Black 3 all over again.
It's true. Yeah.
And it's a really, really cool sequence. The shit with the planes flying overhead and Magneto redirecting missiles.
That's awesome. I mean, the demonstration of Magneto's powers is really inventive, with the submarine chains.
And I loved Xavier sort of like training him throughout the movie. Where during the training sequence, like Magneto's helping to train all these young X-Men, and at the same time, like he still thinks his powers only really work when he's like angry or like has something to prove, and Xavier's like, you don't understand how fucking powerful you are, dude.
Yeah.
Which is kind of amazing to think about in hindsight, looking at the first two movies. It is cool.
It is very cool. And
the pièce de résistance, Henry, is Xavier getting paralyzed at the end with one stray bullet to the spine.
Yeah. I mean, it's just so well done, all of that stuff. I mean, Jesus, we didn't even mention that. Then not only do you get all these characters, you fucking learn how he's paralyzed.
Yeah, you have to paralyze Xavier, too.
And it's just done perfectly. And Fassbender is just such a great Magneto. It's just ridiculous. I mean, he's so good.
He's so insanely... You might say, Henry, he's magnetic.
He's magnetic. I think you're right. It's been said before. I'll say it again. He's one of my favorite actors, and he is just so good.
Better than Matt Damon?
Much. Well, maybe not quite. Maybe not in his league, but
okay.
But you're right, and you're right in the hindsight thing, because it's great to think that really the way Magneto truly unlocks everything for all this shit that he causes later is due to Xavier sort of tapping into his power. And I love the way they keep I don't know if cross-cut's the word, but the way the movie's edited to keep showing how Xavier is the one kind of telling people to blend in, yet harness their power, and Magneto is the one countering everything, like, yeah, use your power, but don't blend in, be yourself. And it's very well done that too, which also explains.
And both of them at the start of the movie, their philosophies aren't like fully formed. You get to see them develop over the course of the movie.
Yeah, which and seeing that their philosophies aren't that different, but you get some insight into Magneto's rage against humanity, which is not just based on being superior to humans.
Homo superior.
Right, exactly.
I went into this movie expecting to say last week we gave 2 2s, maybe this week we'll give 2 3s. I was expecting to think it was totally solid, good X-Men movie, fun start to this new phase in the franchise. But this is better than that. This is a really fucking good X-Men movie, and I'm gonna go ahead and give it a 4. And I'm gonna say it's my second favorite one that I've watched after X2.
Wow. Okay. All right. I love this movie. I was going in sort of expecting to give it a 5, and I'm sticking with it.
And you're giving it a 5. Okay, that's huge.
Yeah, I think it's amazing, and I almost want to say so far in the coverage that it's my favorite one, but I
think that's viable. I honestly,
I'm
as such a fan of X2, I did not expect myself to say that that's a viable opinion, but it kind of is.
Yeah, I'll get to it, in a couple of weeks when we finish. I don't want to do it yet, but it really is great because I love the first two movies. I know I like the first one. I think a little more than you. We're probably the same on the second one.
Yeah.
But this one is just superb.
I think this is like a considerable improvement on the first X-Men movie. I think this is really, it's a really confident, packed movie where every scene works in its favor. It's a 4 for me. It's not quite a 5, not a classic, but I haven't seen this movie since 2011. I'll rewatch it way sooner going forward.
Yeah. And before we wrap up this movie, how great is the last shot of Fassbender saying his name?
Fucking great, and I love the introduction of Magneto's helmet. With Kevin Bacon wears it really fucking well, and then it's passed along to Magneto. And I also just want to say before we stop, this is the best score of any X-Men movie.
Oh my god! I'm so sorry I didn't mention
the
that.
Magneto theme slaps so hard. It's so fucking badass. I had it stuck in my head after watching the movie.
Yeah, it is great. I cannot believe I forgot to mention that. I even made a note about it. Yeah, Henry Jackman, it is excellent. And really, remember when we did the first episode, I was saying how when these two movies were over, I only had the Avengers theme in my head.
Yeah.
Because the music is serviceable, and it's not bad, but it's just unmemorable. And
it is baller in this movie.
This one is ratcheting it up big
Keep
time.
hiring those H. Jackmans. They get the X-Men.
Usually Henrys are pretty good with that stuff, so just keep it up. He's done other scores. I'd have to look it up. If you'd like me to, I can.
I think I would if you can do it quickly.
I think I will. Why not? So,
well, I
else?
see Kingsman Secret Service, so he works with this Vaughn fella a lot. He did Jumanji. Hey, we've covered him a lot.
Keep going. You have it up. All right.
All right. Yeah. I see. So he's relatively new to the world of composition. Only working in the last 10 years. He did Kick-Ass. That
was a good score. I remember that.
Mm-hmm. He did This Is the End. He did Captain Phillips. He did The Interview. He did Captain America: Winter Soldier.
And Civil War.
I see that. Kong Skull Island. He does a lot of real big movies.
Yeah, but he's good.
Hey, he's upcoming, Henry. Detective Pikachu, baby.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
I'll be seeing that in theaters.
Obviously. But, no, yeah, he's good. He's got a cool mixture of, sort of a pounding percussive thing with some great string, low strings. What is that Magneto's theme, I'm asking you?
Yeah, it is. But it's a good melody, but it's also just it bashes you over the head. It's that one dun-dun, dun-dun,
dun-dun.
Yeah. It's cool.
And how about that?
It's in a weird time signature too.
Yeah. Dun, dun, dun. Yeah, it's like a slow 4/4, I think.
I guess it's just slowed down. All right.
But yeah, no, it's great. But real quick, how about that sequence in Brazil when Magneto's in the bar? And he has those two Nazis drinking the beer. I mean, how good is that sequence?
Yeah, yeah, of course, yeah. Where he turns his arm over to show them his fucking concentration camp tattoo. God.
So good.
Yeah. All right. Who's your MVP?
5 stars from me, 4 stars from Dan.
We're both gonna go Fassbender.
Yes, I am.
Yeah. I thought so.
Well, I was I wrote it, and I'm absolutely sticking to it. I was gonna go with McAvoy as well. It was gonna be one of them, but I got to go with Fassbender on it because I think he's able to do a lot with a little less than McAvoy's given. He's
one of these actors that you put in a comic book movie and it just elevates the whole fucking enterprise.
I totally agree. So you go him too. All
yeah.
Right. Well, my LVP is an easy.
It's like putting Bale in Batman.
Oh, all right. Yeah, it takes it up a notch.
Yeah.
And I'm going January Jones for LVP.
Right, and I'm going Riptide.
All right.
All right, let's hear a superhero count that is apparently very long.
Yes, it's unfortunately this movie came out in 2011, and matching that are 11 fucking heroes.
Hurry the fuck up. What was that?
I don't know. I think I have some like YouTube songs on here and shit. I have no fucking idea. My recorder file is just filled with shit.
Great. What is the superhero count? I want to hear it.
Michael Fassbender was also in Jonah Hex.
That is crazy.
Played Burke. I never saw Jonah Hex.
I tried to. I shut it off.
Wow, you don't do that often.
No, I was at home. I was like, this is a waste of my time. What am I doing?
In a 2009 Wonder Woman animated show, Oliver Platt was the voice of Hades.
Sure.
Jason Fleming was who played Azazel, was in The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, playing Jekyll and Hyde.
I remember that. Yeah.
Didn't see it. Yeah.
Terrible.
That's why I didn't see it. And he also played it says a goon in Kick-Ass.
I guess he likes working with Vaughn.
Yes, we established that. Zoe Kravitz was Mary Jane Watson in Into the Spider-Verse.
I don't think I even realized that. That's cool.
There you go. Yeah. Rade Surbetzija.
Raid
That's
Sherbert
right.
Gerber.
I said it right, I think. Surbetzija. Obviously, keeps coming up as the homeless guy in Batman Begins.
Oh, God, enough with this fucking homeless guy.
Right? He's like in a lot of movies we've covered. All right, this one was funny. The guy who plays Colonel Hendry, which is how people, old school Brooklynites, say my name, Hendry.
Mm-hmm. Principal Hendry, of course, the principal in Scream. Go ahead.
Obviously. Was played by an actor named Glenn Morshower. And
I love that actor, by the way. Great character actor.
Okay, so you know who he was in this.
He was in Treme and can currently be seen on the show The Resident, which is kind of a good hospital show.
Well, I think this is very funny in itself. So in X-Men, he plays Colonel Hendry. In Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., he plays General Jacobs. In Supergirl, he plays General Sam Lane.
Yeah, he's one of those. Oh, right. He's Lois Lane's dad on Supergirl.
Oh, yeah. So he's three different ranks of military in three different, basically, universes cinematically. Pretty funny. Michael Ironside plays Louis Snart in The Flash.
Yeah, he's like Dominic Purcell's dad, I think, or maybe a villain's dad because it's DC.
And crossover of DC shit. Well, Glenn Morshower played General Sam Lane in Supergirl. Michael Ironside played him in Smallville.
Hey, how about that?
Look at that.
It's a match.
Ray Wise played the voice of Commissioner Gordon in the animated The Killing Joke.
Oh my God, he should play fucking live action Commissioner Gordon. I'd love it.
That would be awesome. And he played Perry White in Superman Doomsday. And then I hope to be seeing this at some point in our show. Swamp Thing, the original Swamp Thing. He played
he's fucking Swamp Thing in that. Yeah,
that's how ignorant I am.
Yeah.
Wow,
he's great in that. Yeah, he's. I mean, Swamp Thing obviously before he turns into Swamp Thing, but yeah.
Right. Okay. All right. James Remar was in The Phantom with Billy Zane playing Quill.
Playing who?
Quill.
All right.
I know. He was in Blade Trinity playing Ray Cumberland. He is in Black Lightning playing Peter Gamby. Yeah, we're going to get through this. And he's in 3 other animated DC shows. Let's just put it that way.
Got it.
Good enough, right? All right. And 2 more to go. Brendan Fear, as you mentioned him before.
From Roswell.
Right. He was also in Guardians of the Galaxy, the first one, playing somebody, Roman Day's partner. Who the fuck is that? But he's been around in the MCU. And last but not least, somebody in this movie playing a Soviet captain named Alexander Krupa is the actor. He was in Iron Fist, the Netflix series.
Okay.
Yeah, that took me a long fucking time.
Well, you're doing the Lord's work over there. All right.
They tell me.
You ready to talk about the Wolverine? The Wolverine.
Wolverine.
All right. So the Wolverine, is developed pretty quickly. It comes out 2 years later, and they felt bad. No one liked X-Men Origins Wolverine, but it did pretty well. So they wanted to make another Wolverine movie.
Sure.
All right, so Hugh Jackman signs on to produce it, Henry. That's how big he is now.
Yeah, physically too.
Oh my God, he is fucking ripped to pieces in this movie.
He's into it now, man. I mean, he's always been into it, but I think he's realizing now it's getting like part of his life.
I
right?
think the Wolverine is a sea change in this character, Henry. I think, this is the best he is as Wolverine up to this point. The performance is great, and this is the time where he just looks like a fucking demon. He is so big.
Yeah. It's so ridiculously big, and it works. And I think one of the cool reasons for that too, I just thought of this actually, might be because Hugh Jackman himself is just like an average built guy. And he's not like The Rock. So it's cool to see somebody like normal, you know what I mean? Like bulk up. It looks like there's something about it that looks like weirdly more natural. You know what I mean?
Funny you mentioned The Rock, Henry.
I know. He'd help train him.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's probably why I thought of it. Yeah.
All right. So Hugh Jackman.
I will say, I think he
has
always.
Hugh.
Pretty good joke. I think that I want to give credit because I do agree with you that it's the best he's been, but I also don't think there's ever been so far, even in Origins at all, a performance where Hugh Jackman wasn't totally good as Wolverine.
No, 100%. But I think he got better over the years, and I think this movie's
in a Captain America Chris Evans way, where he like really got better.
No, he was fully formed. He felt like Wolverine from movie one. But I really think there was something different in this movie where he's like, oh my God, he just fucking is Wolverine now.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yep. Okay. Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay, so Hugh Jackman's producing.
Once.
Yeah, same here, and I didn't see it in theaters, and I think I was drunk.
Okay. All right, so you've almost never seen it.
Yeah. So Hugh Jackman, his only directive to the writers is he wanted Japan. A lot of the major Wolverine solo stories take place in Japan. He wanted this movie to take place in Japan.
Right.
So they hire first Christopher McQuarrie because he can't escape this fucking world of Bryan Singer.
Yeah, right.
And he writes a draft that ultimately goes unused. It's mostly an adaptation of the Frank Miller Wolverine story from the early 80s. Okay. And then Darren Aronofsky was hired to write and direct, and ultimately decided that if he was to direct this movie, he'd have to live outside of America for over a year. And he did not want to do that because at this point I think he was married at this point. He would later leave his wife to bone J-Law for a while.
Oh, right.
I could be wrong about that, but
wait, yeah, I knew he was with somebody very famous. I didn't remember it was Jennifer Lawrence.
Oh, well, he was fucking Lawrence during The Making a Mother, dude.
He was?
They were like publicly a couple. They went to like the Oscars that year as like a pair.
I didn't remember that. And I guess I thought previously he was also with somebody very famous. I don't know, he could, who knows? All right.
He gets
around.
What is
with Aronofsky though and like
He must be a fan of the X-Men, so he keeps thinking like,
Well-
I'll make an X. Oh, and Batman too. You're right.
That's what I
he
mean. He's
flirts
always-
with superhero projects. He's like
Right.
fucking James Cameron that way. He's constantly set up to do a superhero movie and then just doesn't.
But we've lucked out with James Cameron. I really want to see very much a Darren Aronofsky
Not me.
movie.
I've
do.
fucking talked about this before, Henry.
Yes, I know.
When
We've
there's
had
a
this conversation,
legitimately
but-
great filmmaker,
I know.
don't waste your time.
I know, but Aronofsky's been around now a long time, and so there is nothing wrong, in my opinion, with doing a Soderbergh type move where it's like, you know what? I want a little break from the weird, serious shit. I'm gonna do this for
But
fun.
Soderbergh does a silly thing that's his own idea, The Informant or whatever. You know,
I meant Ocean's movies,
sure, but those feel like Soderbergh movies to me.
and so would this.
I don't know. I feel like I'd rather Aronofsky make like 10 more Mothers before I'd see one superhero movie.
I'm going to disagree with you on that. For this director in particular, I would be very interested to see what he brings to the table. But anyway, we ended up getting somebody pretty damn good anyway.
Sure, and we'll get there.
Yeah.
Well, let's get there right now. So they hire Scott Frank to write a draft of the screenplay, Henry.
Speaking of Soderbergh.
Right, what his claim to fame is really out of sight, right?
Yeah, but isn't he? He's a pretty much big supporter and collaborator of anything Soderbergh, right?
I'm looking at he's had a long ass career. He wrote Little Man Tate and Dead Again and Malice. That's
Really? He
fucking
wrote
crazy.
those?
Yeah.
Malice and Dead Again are pretty good movies.
Agreed. He also wrote Get Shorty, Henry.
Sorry to hear that.
Yeah.
But it makes sense because it's snippy snap.
Right, but Out of Sight was like his real all right, he's a guy now. And so after that he wrote like Minority Report, like a lot of big ass movies.
Oh, okay. All right.
And now he works on these fucking X-Men movies. And everyone really I heard lots of really great things about the Netflix miniseries that he wrote and directed.
Really?
Godless.
That was great.
You
I
watched that?
it.
Yeah, he wrote and directed that.
It was awesome. Yeah.
I think Jeff Daniels won an Emmy or a Golden Globe for that.
Yeah. It's nice because it's contained. It's a miniseries. It's short, and it's great. Recommend it.
Yeah, I should watch that. So he writes a draft. They like it, but then Jackman's contracted to do Les Miserables.
Oh. Ooh.
And so while he's off filming that, they get this fella Mark Bomback to rewrite it, and he adds his own shit. And this guy's been around for a while too. We covered him because he has a writing credit on Live Free or Die Hard.
Oh. Wait, that's a good one, right?
Yeah, that's the one with. I mean, I like it.
You like it more than I did, but yeah. It's not a terrible. Right. Yeah.
But yeah, he's worked on the last two Planet of the Apes movies. He wrote the Unstoppable, the Tony Scott movie. He wrote Total Recall, the remake.
Okay.
He's been around a lot, but he had just recently worked with Jackman on a movie called Deception that no one remembers. Yeah, no one remembers it.
No, I didn't see that. No, I'm thinking if it was like something. I don't think so.
It's Ewan McGregor and Michelle Williams and Jackman are all in it, and I believe Jackman produced that movie, so that's why they get that guy.
Can I just say I think it's hysterical that you gotta love Hugh Jackman. I love how because you offhandedly said he produced the movie and he only had one request. The whole movie needs to take place in Japan, and I love that. That's like. Listen, guys, I only have one request. It's not like I need to wear a wife beater T-shirt in every scene. No, it's I need to move the entire production to Japan.
Because fucking Jackman eventually became a student of these comics, and he's
Totally,
I've been playing this character for 12 years now, and we haven't done a Japan story. It's time.
It's so great. It's like so audacious. And another actor, you could say without any hesitation, that is so fucking arrogant. But with Hugh Jackman, it's like it's because he absolutely wants this to be quality and wants to be doing what he wants to do.
Love Jackman. Okay, so this movie, they get James Mangold to direct it, and it finally comes out July 26th, 2013, on a budget of $120 million. I like it. They were a little frugal with it, but still gave them money to do some shit. And comes in with a box office of $414.8 million, which I will remind you is more than the X-Men movie made. That's how big Wolverine is as a character.
Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't know that, and I didn't know it did so well.
Yeah, came in at 22 at the box office, right there between two real all-time classic comedy sequels, Henry, Grown Ups 2 and Anchorman 2. Two masterpieces.
Oh boy.
And we ranked the James Mangold movies that we've seen.
We did.
Yeah.
I've seen 8.
He's a director I have a lot of time for. I've seen 9. Had to one-up you.
Obviously.
And
I'm curious.
Yeah, my number 9 is honestly, I've liked 8 of his 9 movies. So
I have liked 6 of them, of 6 of my 8. So
okay, so the worst movie by a long shot, the first time he worked with Hugh Jackman in a really horrible 2-hour long for no reason romantic comedy called Kate and Leopold.
Oh wow, I wouldn't have even considered seeing that, but okay. Wow. Yeah, you saw that, huh?
Yeah, I sure did. It was like right after X-Men. I was like, I'm going to see everything this fucking Jackman guy makes. I saw that Someone Like You movie with Ashley Judd, too.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, he took some falls.
I saw Swordfish. All of them.
Swordfish. Wow. All right.
Yeah. All right. What's number 8? What's your number 8? Your last place.
My number 8 is by far the worst James Mangold. It wasn't even close for me. One of Dan's favorite thrillers, and that is Identity.
Yeah, I like that movie.
Saw it in theaters, and I loathed it.
Saw it in theaters, walked out of it, happy as a clam.
Yeah, I was angry after I saw that.
My number 8 is a totally solid, I believe it's his debut film, a nice little independent film from the mid-'90s called Heavy.
Yeah, okay. Higher on my list.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. My number 7 is a movie that the whole world seemed to be shattered by, but not me. I don't think it's bad, but I don't have much use for it, and that's Girl Interrupted.
My number 7 is a pretty solid biopic, which Mangold directs ably, but is very, very helped by its excellent lead performances by Joaquin Phoenix and Reese Witherspoon, and that is Walk the Line.
That's my number 6, and I remember being pretty nonplussed by that movie. It's very workmanlike. I always said about that movie that it was a PG-13 movie about a rated R life. And
I like it.
Thank you. That was always my little tagline when anyone asked me my opinion of that movie. So it's totally fine, but you are right. That movie works, if it does work in anyone's opinion, because of Phoenix and Witherspoon.
Correct.
Okay.
You just have to get past the fact that Johnny Cash didn't have a hair lip in real life.
Right. So that was my number 6, and I think you're up with your 6. Right?
My number 7 was Walk the Line. What's your number 6?
I said Walk the Line.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay.
You're ahead of me on this because you had more. Yeah.
My number 6 is a movie that's probably going to be your number 1 or 2, and that's a totally good movie called Copland.
Oh, all right. Pretty low on the list there. Yeah.
Well,
I'm getting more curious.
There's a movie I fucking love that has already appeared on your list, so
I'm pretty sure I know what it was.
I'm sure all right. Do. What's your number 5?
Number 5, and we're getting into here if these are the 5 Mangold movies to watch, in Henry's humble opinion. HHO. Can that be a thing here, Henry's humble opinion?
We'll call it the HHO, sure.
Yeah, the HHO. And your could be the DHO.
No, I just the HHO.
You're right, because yours wouldn't be humble.
No, I'm not humble at all. I think my opinions are correct.
Right. Oh, it's the DCO.
Daniel's correct opinion.
Right. All right. Number 5 is The Wolverine.
Okay. My number 5 is an excellent movie about a bunch of characters trapped somewhere together. You know I love it. And what's that? A ridiculous twist ending that doesn't make sense? Yes, please. Identity.
I am actually quite happy to see that at 5. I must tell you, that makes me happy.
As opposed to higher?
I thought it would be absolutely in your
Oh.
1, 2. Yeah.
No.
Yep. Number 4 for me is a movie I haven't seen in a very long time. It might have very well been my first James Mangold movie, but I think I remember it being quite excellent, and that is Heavy.
Okay, my number 4 is The Wolverine.
All right. This was hard.
This was hard for me too, actually, because I really love my top 3, and I had trouble ranking them.
So did I.
I fucking love my number 3.
Yeah, for me, I did something that I've done before. I think my number 3 is a better movie than my number 2, but I don't think that I have as much affection for it as my number 2. So number 3 is 3:10 to Yuma.
That is my number 3.
Is it really?
It is.
I didn't know you liked that movie.
This has come up on the podcast, and every time I tell you I like that movie, you say, I don't remember that you like that movie. Remember, I love that movie.
I will from now on. I guess it just does not strike me as a Dan type of film.
I like a good Western sometimes, and I love Russell Crowe, and he's fucking awesome in that movie. And it's got some fun violence near the end, and Ben Foster's good in it. It's a good movie.
Yeah. I can't wrap my head around you with that type of movie. I think that's what it is. Yeah, but I will now. All right. So we have the same number 3. All right. This was also not easy, but my number 2 movie of James Mangold is Copland.
Love it. All right, my number 2 is a movie. I mean, look, obviously we switched basically on these 2 movies. My number 2 is a movie I think is pretty close to being a masterpiece, and that is the great adaptation of Susanna Kayson's memoir, which I've also read, and that's Girl Interrupted.
Okay, I figured you'd probably read that.
Yeah. I think the movie's better than the book, actually.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Don't hear that often from people. The number 1 James Mangold movie, and I am looking forward to watching it again.
This is barring a rewatch.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. That should be clear, because 3:10 to Yuma or Copland will be bumped to number 1 if I don't feel the same.
Agreed. So number 1 is Logan on both of our lists.
For both of us. Okay.
For now.
For now. Yeah, that's interesting. We both put it there. I thought you would think I would definitely go Copland.
I thought it was going to be one of the 2.
Yeah. No, it's Logan. I mean, in my mind, as of the last time, it's, to me, pretty close to a masterpiece. So we'll see how that turns out.
All right, so Mangold. I've got a 2013 list here. Can we do that pretty quick?
I would like to, yeah. And I know you don't like this, but I'm going to throw out my HMs, just boom, like bullets.
Fine, I'll throw some out too.
Good, because this was a hell of a year.
Great year.
All right, you're going to be mad at some of them that throw out my top 10. Any one of these, almost. Not all of them. The Wolf of Wall Street.
That's not in your top 10.
It got
all the bullshit fucking Scorsese movies that make your top 10. All those fucking shitty movies. This was like his first good movie in like fucking 15 years, and that doesn't make your list?
Oh, the wrath. I love it. It was on my list. I wanted to shake it up a little bit.
Fucking ridiculous.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Nebraska.
Yeah.
Mud. Stoker. Philomena. Inside Llewyn Davis. Short Term 12. And What Maisie Knew.
Okay. Well, What Maisie Knew got bumped.
Couple of did. Yeah, Llewyn Davis got bumped too.
Okay, I'll throw out there Captain Phillips, This Is the End, Pain and Gain, Blue Jasmine, Side Effects, Rush, The World's End, Enough Said, and The Hunt.
Ooh, there's about 4 of those that I think are garbage, and everything else. But everything else is phenomenal.
Okay.
I would have gone.
What's
through the whole thing.
garbage?
Read it again, and I'll say thumbs up, thumbs down.
Captain Phillips,
Thumbs up.
This Is the End.
Thumbs down.
Bullshit. Pain and Gain.
Thumbs down.
I made you watch that, right?
Yes, you did.
Blue Jasmine.
Thumbs down.
Of course. Side Effects.
Thumbs up.
Rush.
Thumbs up.
World's End.
Thumbs down.
Enough Said.
Thumbs up.
And The Hunt.
Thumbs up.
Okay.
Wait, is World's End the Simon Pegg movie?
Yeah.
Didn't see it.
Oh, okay. What did you think it was?
I got it confused with This Is the End, even though it
Oh,
would have
got
already
it.
been
They're
on
both
there.
on the list, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, what's
okay.
number 10?
Francis Ha.
Okay. My number 10
Yeah.
is Prisoners.
Oh, okay. Number 9, Upstream Color.
My number 9 is The Place Beyond the Pines.
Happy to see it. Happy to see it. Number 8, Side Effects.
My number 8, Fruitvale Station.
Ooh. Number 7, The Counselor.
My number 7 is Short Term 12.
Good. Number 6 is Gravity.
I love that all the movies I'm bringing up are, sorry, number 6 was Gravity. They're all, like, fucking Fruitvale Station is ground zero for Black Panther. And then Short Term 12 is just like fucking Captain Marvel.
For Brie.
Ugh, yeah, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, that's weird. You're right.
All right, so your number 6 was Gravity, not on my list. My number 6 is Nebraska.
Good call. My number 5.
Heavy hitters.
Heavy hitters. Fruitvale Station.
My number 5 is Before Midnight.
Yeah, almost made my list. Number 4 is Prisoners.
My number 4 is Francis Ha.
All right. My number 3 is The Place Beyond the Pines.
My number 3 is The Wolf of Wall Street.
All right. And here's the one that you love to hate. Maybe more than me leaving off Wolf of Wall Street. I'm putting this in it. Out of the Furnace.
Oh, yeah, that movie sucks. By the way, I say that movie sucks. You've made me watch movies since then that suck more. Like, Out of the Furnace is better than Hostiles.
Oh, geez, thanks.
Yeah.
Really? You
Yeah.
thought Out of the Furnace was better? The same director, right?
Yeah.
You don't like that director.
No, he sucks.
So I'm done with recommending him.
Thank you.
Yeah, and he's made some bad films, but those two are not two of them. Yeah.
My number 2 is 12 Years a Slave.
Whoa. That's the best movie of the year and my number 1.
Yeah, I mean, it's close. My number 1 is Her.
Was that always your number 1?
No, it used to be 12 Years. They're both masterpieces.
I think Her is great, but holy shit.
You know, it's like I gotta be honest. Like, I think 12 Years a Slave is probably a better movie, but, like, in my mind, like, I fucking love Her.
Okay. I hear you.
I love Her. I
You
love
do.
her.
You love her.
All right, so the Wolverine, dude.
Yeah.
Starts off just such an X-Men way to start off a movie. I love that we're covering 2 X-Men movies. The first one starts off in fucking a concentration camp, and the second one happens in the midst of Nagasaki.
It's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's fucking great.
With a bunch of Japanese dudes committing seppuku.
Yeah. Yeah, look at you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I said, I hadn't seen this movie in 6 years, so I couldn't even remember which movie this sequence was in.
I didn't remember this sequence at all.
Oh, that's funny. I did. I just could never remember which movie it was in. I totally thought it was in Origins.
It makes sense. It's as audacious as anything in Origins.
Which also led me to believe I was thinking in Origins when they show him and Sabretooth running side by side in the opening credits in World War II. I'm like, I thought they were in Europe on that front fighting the Nazis. Or I guess they were in Japan, or maybe he went to both
Both,
fronts.
yeah. I feel like
Not enough
Wolverine.
war. He's
Wolverine
not
wasn't officially enlisted in the army. I think. I feel like he just like follows wars around.
right. So the Germans were defeated first. So he's like, oh, but Japan didn't surrender. All right, I'll go over there.
Yeah. So he's over there. He's being held captive in this big tube underground.
How they pulled that off, I don't know. Pulling him captive. All right,
That's a good point. Yeah. So he's down there. It's sort of like in The Dark Knight Rises.
Yeah, I didn't think of that.
And he's trying to get out, but the fucking bomb, the H bomb, is being dropped, and he goes out and like helps that one dude, right? What's this character's name?
Oh boy, I gotta look it up.
Shingen is the son.
Sorry, there's a lot of Japanese names in this movie, and they're hard to keep track of because they say them really fast. And he's got like a daughter and a son with his name, Yoshida.
Harada.
There's 3 Yoshidas.
Oh, Yoshida, right? That's what it is. It's Yoshida.
That last name, yeah. Right.
So, fucking Yoshida, he saves that dude. He gets him down in that tube and like covers him so he could survive the bomb, and then you get to see Wolverine all bombed out. It's pretty baller.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very cool. That was very cool to me because it was very comic booky in the best way. Like that is a sequence you could see in a panel where you're just like, oh, okay, he survives a nuclear
Right.
bomb.
Oh, he's like a skeleton now? Okay.
Right, it's fine.
Yeah.
And in this, it's just like, oh wow, they did it. They went for it. Yeah.
It's pretty cool, man. And that's a pretty powerhouse sequence to open up. When you're opening up your fucking movie with an atomic bomb, that's pretty it sets a bar.
Yeah, it does. I mean, in the first X-Men, we opened with a concentration camp. Now we're opening with the atom bomb. I mean, it's big stuff. We aim big for the movies. Yeah.
And then, you know what's fucking crazy about the Wolverine?
What's that?
Last Stand, which is a piece of shit, but is canon.
Right.
That was such a massive movie with such a big, like, it killed off so many characters. It depowered a bunch of them. And the only 2 X-Men movies since then have been Origins Wolverine and First Class, which all take place before that. So this is the first movie. It is 7 years later, and it's the first movie where we're actually like dealing with stuff that happened in that.
Oh, you're right.
And on the one hand, it's cool. I like Wolverine's dream sequences, and I think Famke Janssen really works in those sequences as this like dream genie.
Nice pun.
Thanks,
yeah, there's too much of that though.
Yeah, there's like 6 of those sequences.
Yes, I liked them, and then they kept happening, and I was a little bit like, all right, I get it. But
Henry, did you watch the regular edition or the extended?
I watched the regular edition.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Did
me
you
too.
watch the extended?
No. I need to practice what I preach. I watched the theatrical release.
I would like to see the extended.
I kind of wanted to watch the extended, but I felt like you'd give me shit.
No, me? Jesus, this is from Batman v Superman extended edition.
Right, that's true.
A better movie.
Yeah. All right, so yeah, he's finally reacting to the death of Jean. One thing I do not buy, Henry.
What?
I understand that in the comics, like, Jean was one of Wolverine's great loves or whatever.
Yeah.
But in the world of the movies, like, if we're really looking at continuity, he has only known her for like a couple months and had like 2 conversations with her that weren't in a group.
We don't know that. The time span between X-Men and X-Men 3, you think is 2 months?
Listen, between X-Men and X-Men 2, he's away in fucking Canada searching Alkali Lake, and then in fucking 2, she dies. So every interaction he has had with Jean Grey is on the fucking screen.
I forgot about that.
So how is he? Right. How is he in love with her? Like it, like I want to die so I could be in heaven with Jean. Like, shut up, you fucking stalker! You like barely know.
Man.
It'd be like if I was just like, you know, like if like I went on like 2 Tinder dates with somebody and then they died and I was like, I will be devoted to you for the rest of my life.
I don't know, man. When I met Kate Winslet, I was ready to give everything up. Everything for her.
Whatever. I'm like, dude, she was boning Cyclops the entire time you knew her.
Yeah. Because it's probably safe to say they never had sex, right?
No, of course not. She's never even given him a hand job. Like, they've never kissed.
Yeah. She could be, like, not really good in
Well,
the
I
sack.
mean, listen, regardless of that, like, what feelings do you possibly have for this woman? You barely know her.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It's a very you bring a good point up.
So
Yeah.
he's living in the woods. He is hanging
He
out.
likes animals.
He's hanging out with a CGI bear, which looks better than the one in The Revenant.
I knew you were fucking gonna say that. When I was watching it, the first thought I had was Dan is totally gonna rag the Revenant bear.
Mm-hmm.
Is that a DCO?
FYI, that and it is, and it looks probably worse than it did at the time because it's full CGI bear. It takes a little piss, which I liked, and this fucking bear. I can't believe we gave Best Picture to a movie with a CGI bear.
Oh my god! You know, eventually the masterpieces of Iñárritu will reach your brain somehow. I don't know how.
You mean 21 grams in Amores Perros? They already have.
Oh! See, got him to say it.
All right. Listen. So he goes off to this bar and he meets.
I love it.
Yeah. And when he comes back, the fucking bear is dead. Right?
He hasn't gone to the bar yet. Actually, I don't.
Well,
think.
what does he do? Where is he when the bear gets killed?
He hears the guys screaming because they attacked a bear and the bear fought back and the bar won. And so he wakes up to that screaming and then finds the bear poisoned.
So he follows these hunters back to the bar to avenge his friend the bear.
Yeah.
And that's a pretty baller sequence, and that's where we get the first appearance of his sort of sidekick in this movie. Yukio, who I think is like pretty good. I mean, has this actress been in shit?
I don't know. I mean, she is now, which I know from my count. But
Rila Fukushima, I'm looking at her right now. She hasn't been in much, man. She's done some TV. She was in fucking Ghost in the Shell. She was in an episode of Game of Thrones.
Who isn't?
I don't know. I didn't like her at first because it was like, really, we have to have like a sexy young Japanese girl squiring Wolverine to Europe. Yeah, but I mean, I kind of like the way they pitched her character as sort of like, I liked her backstory of being like that lady Mariko's like playmate. You know, there's that one line where Shinjin goes up to her and is like, "You're just a fucking toy that's not being used anymore."
Ooh. Yeah, you're right.
It's pretty good.
Well-written line and an awful, awful thing to say.
Yeah.
Played by a great actor, Hiroyuki Sanada. I love that guy.
From season 6 of Lost.
From Sunshine and the Last Samurai.
Okay. Remember him hanging out with John Hawkes on the last season of Lost, gang? That was him.
Remember him on Sunshine, being the captain of the ship, having to make those terrible decisions? Yep, that was him.
Okay. So she squires Wolverine to
Japan. With his word squires. Did you read the book recently where you learned new words?
No, it's word of the day, toilet paper. And I'm joking. But anyway, she squires him to Japan because she wants him to have this sword. Why in movies, anytime someone touches a sword, it makes a noise like shing?
Yeah. I don't know. That is a great question. And another question I have. Why is it that, I mean, I know very little about the martial arts, but to my knowledge, you really shouldn't touch a samurai sword unless you want to get cut. Yet in every movie I see, people are able to touch the blade gently.
Yeah, they just sort of caress the blade.
Yeah, and
Sure.
they're fine. Yet the blade will like cut clean through like a safe with no issue. It's very
Cuts
strange.
clean through a chair and a beer in that bar sequence.
It does.
So they go to Japan. It's the dude he saved in World War II, and he's like a rich dude now, and he wants to like bequeath Wolverine this fucking sword. And then Wolverine gets sort of pulled into like the family drama over there, including this dude's daughter, Mariko, or his granddaughter, actually.
Granddaughter. Yeah.
Mariko, who is a character in the comic books who Wolverine was married to for a few years there.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Okay. Well, I can't believe I meant to ask you. Is Yukio not in the comics?
I believe the only characters in this movie that are taken from the comics are, Clan Yashida is a thing from the comics. Shingen is a character from the comics. Mariko is a character from the comics, and Viper is a character from the comics. I don't know if that other one is.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
All right. So he gets taken in. They strip Wolverine of all his clothes and
Give him a bath.
and we get to see Hugh Jackman's butt crack for a second.
Yeah, it's odd, but it's kind of a funny sequence.
Yeah, I was kind of into that.
In like a weird.
Oh, right, because early in the movie, he's all fucking bearded out.
Oh yeah, he's got the long hair and a long beard. Yeah,
He looks good.
He looked like I did in 2008.
He looks like Prisoners Wolverine. I mean Jackman, Prisoners Wolverine. So he gets out there and he talks to the guy and gets the sword, and he's like sort of dying, but they're keeping him on life support, and that life support machine he's on, it looks like one of those things with like needles that you like put on your face as a kid.
Does not look like a comfortable.
I think it looks super
bed.
comfortable. I wanted to sit on it.
Really?
Yeah, it looks like the back just like conforms to you.
You can just take me to Sleepy's and get me a nice mattress.
No.
I really don't need body conforming needles.
I'll take them.
Yeah, you're into that. I don't
was.
know. Yeah, I don't know. The plot for certain little things in this movie started to get complicated.
It gets convoluted to the point where I basically stopped paying attention. It was. Honestly, like it's solid up to this point, but there's like very little action for like 40 minutes of the movie, and I'm kind of into it. And then there's like this, this thing where like Mariko goes to like commit suicide, and Wolverine like saves her, and I'm like, all right.
I felt like some of the plot didn't need all of the extra plotting involved, meaning that there were no subplots in this movie, which I appreciated, but the objective of Yoshida, the elder Yoshida, is quite simple, and the way they go about it is extremely convoluted, like even to the point where they get you rethinking why the bear was killed with a poison dart, because it wasn't the hunters who used the poison.
Right.
So then you're trying to think, well, then wait, and it's like, but like you, I kind of just, in a maybe more positive way. I don't know if you meant it negatively or positively.
I didn't mean it super negatively.
I didn't really care in a good way. I was just like, all right, it doesn't matter. Like he loses his powers in a cool way, and yeah.
I was enjoying the movie, okay, and yeah, right. He loses his powers during that first really big action sequence, and like a lot of this movie is just Wolverine. He's with Mariko. The bad guys are after them, and they're trying to run away from the bad guys. So at least I know Wolverine's objective here, and that was enough. Like, I didn't really care why they were getting chased, what Mariko's significance was.
Right, it was a big family dynasty mafia movie, and it you don't really need all that. It's like everybody had ulterior motives underneath ulterior motives, and then there's double crosses and triple crosses, and it's kind of immaterial.
Yeah, and meanwhile, I'm just like, okay, so Wolverine's protecting this Mariko girl, and they're getting chased after, and Viper is cool.
What did you think about Viper?
I thought she was great. She's my MVP.
Oh wow!
I don't know who's even this actress, Svetlana something.
Yeah, some Russian gal. I don't know, man. I'd never seen her again.
Svetlana Kodchenkova, and she's been in a lot of shit, a lot of Russian shit. It's
Yeah,
weird.
I mean, she's clearly Russian. I mean, I
I thought she was really fucking cool in this movie.
yeah, I liked what they did, like look wise. I thought it would have been cooler to use her a little bit more, as usual. With
I
a
thought
lot
she
of
was
they
used
say there's a
fine.
lot.
I thought her powers were depicted really cool. I thought she was like a genuinely badass female villain, which you don't
Well,
see
she
a lot.
looked, yeah, and she kind of had no trouble exuding that evil look. She was good at that. It
She
wasn't like
and she made you believe that she could take Wolverine down.
yes, her physicality was very appropriate.
Yeah.
I guess I could have used a little more of her, other than being sort of a hired assassin, which is essentially you find out all she really is.
Yeah. She's not really important to the plot of the movie. I just think she was like a fucking cool villain.
Yeah, it was a neat addition, and I'm glad we didn't like reboot another villain, for that we've already seen.
Viper's a good comic book character, and she's often used in these Japan stories, so it made sense.
Yeah,
And by the way, Japan stories are not my favorite Wolverine comics.
I know they're not. Oh,
Yeah.
I thought you meant in general, because I thought you've said that you're not a big. What is it? You're not big on Native American.
Native American mysticism and Chinatown stories.
Japan's okay.
Japan's all right.
You can have all right.
But anyway, so that's what's going on. He's running. There's the first big action sequence, which I was fucking bored by.
Is that what is considered
The one
first-
outside where he's like at that wedding, and you know what I'm talking about?
The funeral.
Oh, right. It's the funeral.
I thought that was all right, but it wasn't the best one.
I was super bored. There's a guy shooting arrows at them. But then, like, minutes later, we are on the fucking bullet train, and that action sequence is so good.
I like that. I thought that was cool.
I agree.
Yeah, and
Them
that's
fighting
also
on the
that's a. Sorry. Go ahead.
no, nothing on the top of the bullet train, using the claws and the sword to like latch onto the ceiling, or the roof of the train.
Little Mission Impossible still carrying over its influence on top train fight sequences.
It felt tense to me. Like I was worried. I was even worried about like the villain.
Yeah, well,
Like, watch your head, dude.
And Logan is powerless at this point. All he has is the claws. And I also like
He's still making ridiculous jumps everywhere.
Oh, of course, because he's not. That's what I was going to get to. I really liked how they handled this. Okay, it's not an original idea, as you know. We've even covered it on this show with people losing their powers and how it can be boring and how it can. But this is like a gradual loss, and it's not. He doesn't lose everything, so it's almost just like he loses his healing ability, but not to like the detriment of him being completely helpless. So
No, he's still got bone claws.
Yeah, and well, he's got his real claws all the way till the end.
Yeah,
and he is still healing, but it's just like slow, and it's just very cool that he's kind of confused by it. You can kind of see Jackman I give him a lot of credit acting for not being because he's always talking like he doesn't enjoy his powers. He's not somebody who enjoys them, but now that he doesn't have them. I like when he sits down after chopping the tree and is like,
right. They're saying you're old, you deserve to die peacefully, and it's when he loses powers, he for the first time ever develops a fear of death almost.
Yeah, and he's like, maybe I'm not ready to lose my powers. And,
yeah,
it's very cool.
Yeah,
and,
bro.
What are you? The Wolverine.
Yeah. Listen, we got it. That's what I wanted from the Equalizer.
Great call. Yeah.
And so that's pretty cool. The end. The whole fucking last sequence with the Silver Samurai. Fucking get me out of the movie theater. I'm good.
I agree. I thought though that there was enough in this movie. Okay, first I'll say when he is running to that tower at the end and they're shooting arrows at him and he's being held back.
That's really good.
That's incredible and really original. Um, I
It's
went into
not.
this.
I mean, if you've
I thought it was
watched
pretty
martial
original.
arts movies.
No, no, no. To be held by all those arrows, no human would be able to keep moving.
Oh,
I'm
right.
talking
I guess
about
that's
like
true.
a usage of his
His power.
invulnerability. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I went into this movie, I'll say like you did for First Class. Now, I went into this really thinking I was going to go three. Uh, but watching the movie, it seems like we had similar issues with it. But I liked it much more on this viewing than I did when I first saw it. And I think there are way more good things in it than disappointing. But the ending with the Silver Samurai is very ridiculous. It's a disappointing last hurrah there.
Especially considering Silver Samurai, Shinjin is the Silver Samurai in the comics. They're like building up to, oh, Shinjin. That means the Silver Samurai is going to be in this movie. And then we get to the end of this movie and it's a giant robot.
Well, what is he in the comp? Like,
He's
what
just
is,
a fucking samurai. He's
That's
a
it?
dude with a sword who wears a silver suit.
so they do like kind of like Jeff Bridges and Iron Man deal going on there. They just put him in some giant supersonic.
Yeah, I mean they give him a power suit. He reminded me of fucking when they need Superman to fight Lex Luthor, so they like pop a yellow metal thing on him.
I had that action figure.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's not that long, and there's some cool cross-cutting.
It's not that long. It's 2 hours and 6 minutes, which it
I didn't mean
feels.
the movie.
The action
meant that
sequence.
fight.
Okay.
Because it's helped by the cross-cutting of the fight between Yukio and Viper.
Which
And
is
then
a better fight by a lot.
I agree. And the one where, and then, you know, Harada, I believe, the archer, he's kind of helping out, and so
Yeah.
it's,
I liked
you know.
some of the little beats and like them falling from different levels of the
Yes,
building
that
was pretty
cool.
good. But anything directly to do with the Silver Samurai, including him like sort of like latching onto Wolverine's claws, like I didn't give a shit.
I agree. We did skip a cool sequence where Wolverine takes that shit out of his heart. That was pretty fucking awesome.
Yeah, that's good. Oh, and I like that little Octo robot that he pulls off of his heart.
Yeah, the little spider thing that
Yeah,
Viper
that
put
little
in.
fella. It reminded me of like one of those things they sent into fucking Queen Amidala's room in Attack of the Clones.
You know what? I thought you were going to say Minority Report.
No.
That thing they send in ahead of time to be like cameras to
Oh
find
yeah, I forgot about that.
people. Yeah. So, all right.
All right, so it ends. They leave fucking Japan, and he makes out with Mariko. They don't really have chemistry, but whatever. And they fly away on the private plane, and then we get a mid-credit sequence, which sets up Days of Future Past
great.
by bringing
Great.
back Ian McKellen and Patrick Stewart, which doesn't really tell you fucking anything, but it's just an excuse like, hey, we're making another movie. These guys are in it. Check it out.
It didn't matter. It was awesome. And I think it was also the watching these movies in succession, watching First Class, followed by this. So you immediately get to see Patrick Stewart and Ian McKellen, and it just kind of flows very well.
I know,
And,
but it's also the kind of thing where I think about like how'd they plan this? Because it's like in real life, like Xavier would have gone up to Wolverine and been like, "Hey, I'm alive. Come join us. There's some shit going down." But in this, it was like Magneto shows up and he's like, "Wolverine, we gotta go," and he's like, "What? You're a terrorist." And then Magneto's like, "But what's this coming around the bend?" Zoop.
well, that had to be a fixer-upper, right? Of did they know they were going to bring back Patrick Stewart? I mean,
Well,
did
they set that up at the end of Last Stand.
How did they do that again? I forgot.
We
with him.
see like Moira like waking him up in bed in like a hospital. We don't see Stewart, but like we see like from behind, like, and Moira's like, "Hi, Charles."
Okay.
Yeah. Moira does have a crazy Scottish accent in that movie, but then does not in First Class, and also the ages don't line up. But we're gonna ignore that. So yeah, that sequence is pretty cool, and that's the end of the movie.
All right. What do you give this baby?
I think Jackman set out to, he felt like X-Men Origins Wolverine disappointed the fans, and he wanted to make a really great Wolverine movie. I don't think he's done that yet, but I do think he's made a significantly better Wolverine movie, and this is a very solid, very fine 3.
All right. I think it's better than a 3-star. I think it's a 4. I definitely went up on my rewatch. I was set on a 3, and I ended with a 4. I think you're not going to get another Jackman Wolverine movie. So for what this is, and
you are. It's called Logan.
Well, yeah, you're right. That was stupid. I guess I meant more like Wolverine in his prime, kicking ass and all that shit. Logan's a different sort of beast.
Sure,
but yeah, no, I think it deserves a 4. I think it's better than a 3.
It's a 3.
Okay. And
who's your my MVP is Viper. Who's yours?
Oh, it's unmistakably
Jackman. I totally understand. I guess I was just trying to think outside the box. But Jackman, I love Jackman. I mean, I started talking about this movie by saying this is his best performance as Wolverine.
That's right. Yeah. So far.
Well, I need to rewatch Logan, but yeah.
Yeah, and my LVP is not the actor, but just the Silver Samurai.
Oh, that's pretty good, dude. I can't really argue with that. Maybe I'll go with that too. I was gonna go with Mariko. I just don't think she's a strong enough female lead for the movie. But she's not bad. She's fine.
She's just not very emotive.
I guess. So I'll go with what's his face too.
Silver Samurai.
Yeah, and I've actually liked that actress in other things. She was good on Hannibal, and she's good on Westworld.
Jeez, I don't remember her on Hannibal. Okay, or Westworld for that matter.
Season 2, didn't you not watch season 2 for some reason?
Yeah, I wasn't interested.
Okay, great job.
All right, I got a 5 count.
Superheroes. Okay, let's hear them.
Hiroyuki Sanada, the great Hiroyuki Sanada.
That's Shinjin?
Sure. No, it's your guy from Heroes.
The guy from Lost, not Heroes, and don't conflate the two.
It's the guy from Sunshine and the Last Samurai.
Okay.
Yeah.
Who is he?
And apparently, well, he is in one thing, which neither of us have seen, and he plays a character called Akihiko in Avengers Endgame.
Who fucking knew? Jesus.
Yeah.
Akihiko. Yeah. How do they have time for that in that movie?
I don't know. I'm assuming maybe he's one of Doctor Strange's pals. Who the fuck knows?
All right.
Yeah. I don't care. It's cool that he's in it. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. What? Who else?
Mariko Yoshida is played by Tao Okamoto, and she played.
I know this one. Yeah, Mercy in Beavis Dodge. Yeah.
Thank you for using my own. I like that.
Yeah.
I don't remember her in that at all.
Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice. Yeah, she was working for Luthor in that.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Fair enough. Yukio, played by Raila Fukushima, was in the TV show Arrow, playing Katana.
Sure, of course, Katana.
Katana.
No, I'm just saying, that's who she would play on Arrow.
Right. Yeah. The guy who played the Archer, I believe his name in the movie was Harada.
Oh, wait, I just realized something. Katana's like a legitimate DC character. Okay, I'll give him that one. That's actually a good character.
Oh, all right. Okay. Will Yun Lee, who played Harada, I think he was the Archer in this movie.
Sure. Boring at that character, by the way. Didn't need him to be in the movie at all.
Oh, I had said I thought the Archer was kind of a neat little character.
No, I didn't do it.
All right. He was in Elektra.
As an Archer?
Probably playing Karigi.
All right.
And he played a parasoldier in Superman Unbound.
What's Superman Unbound?
An animated movie.
Sounds erotic.
Sure. And lastly, Brian T. from Fast and Furious, Tokyo Drift. Remember him?
Brian T.
Look him up. It's your movie. It's Drift.
What's Draft?
What's Drift, Brian?
What's Draft?
Mr. T. He's Mr. T.
Draft. Oh, wait, what am I looking for?
Brian T.
Brian, that's the actor's name or what?
Yeah, T-E-E. It'll pop up and you'll see him as credits or... Yeah.
Here he is. Noburu. Fine.
That's right.
What's he been?
Yeah, he plays the husband in the movie that gets thrown out of.
Oh, I know this fucking guy. Yeah. He's been in tons of shit.
Right. By the way, that when he throws him out the window and he lands in a pool, that's definitely a reference to Diamonds Are Forever.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Good shot. I didn't know there was a pool out there. All right. He is in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and he plays Toshiro Mori. Mm-hmm. And he was in the 2016 motion picture Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Out of the Shadows playing Shredder.
Yeah, I'm sorry. He in Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift is DK, Henry. You might recall that stands for the Drift King.
That's right. Drift King.
It's awesome.
I know you'd like that. Yeah.
I did. Okay, yeah, he's a good actor. I've seen him in a bunch of shit. Anyway, what do we have here? Is that it for the episode?
I think we're done.